Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. It is January the 7th. We're just a few short days away from Packers Bears wild card round playoff matchup at Chicago. Really excited to continue to dive into that game as we get a little deeper into the week. What we're doing today is bringing you a little bit of breaking news as Matt LaFleur met with the media with a little bit of an injury update earlier. So we got a little bit of bad news, a little bit of good news, okay? And with the good news, we're going to talk about what it may mean for the Green Bay Packers offense as we step into this matchup against the Chicago Bears. Before we get into everything, if you would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your day. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future, like this show right here. So like I said, breaking news, shout out to Wendell Ferreira, threw the tweet out there, the first one I seen this morning. The Packers will place Bo Melton on injured reserve. LaFleur says he's out for the season with a knee injury. Of course, he's got an article attached here from earlier today. Make sure you go check it out. Again, Wendell Ferreira over on X, and does a great job covering the Packers, writing articles there for A to Z Sports. So again, Bo Melton on IR. He is done for the playoffs, it sounds like. Now, what does this mean? I think it's somewhat big news. I do. Now, does it mean the Packers can't still go on a run and potentially win the whole thing? No, but this hurts an aspect of your team that I think most people would probably agree is a weak spot of your team, right? And that's the special team. So just some cool stats here. Zach Cruz tweeted out earlier over on X. He covers the Packers as well. Said a cool season for Bo Melton. He caught 4 passes for 107 yards and a touchdown. He ran the ball 5 times for 35 yards, so he averaged 7 yards a carry. He returned 19 kickoffs for 467 yards. He made 4 tackles covering punts/kicks. He played in 186 special team snaps, 96 offensive snaps, and he converted to cornerback and played 0 defensive snaps. So you guys know in the offseason, in training camp, the big talk was Bo Melton's going to switch from wide receiver to corner. And, I initially thought, okay, this kind of means he's on the hot seat, right? He's on the chopping block. If he can't make it work at corner, they're probably going to move on from him. Now, one thing that played into his advantage were some of the injuries that occurred there in the wide receiver room. Obviously, Christian Watson being on IR early, and then all of a sudden they're putting him back on offense, and he didn't even play any defensive snaps. So, again, special teams, I think this is it's going to be a big loss, but there's other guys that can step up. It's not the end of the world. But again, I don't want to downplay this too much with, like I said, Bo Melton being out for the rest of the playoffs. So there was some other stuff that kind of dropped. I know Andy Herman had tweeted this out, and it was really interesting because we've been pretty vocal talking about Bo Melton's targets, right? We've talked about Bo Melton's targets and how it seemed like for a 3 or 4 game stretch there, when the receivers were banged up, Matthew Golden was dealing with an injury, Savion Williams dealing with the foot injury, which he still is. Jaden Reed was a little dinged up. You had all these different injuries. I even think Christian Watson was hurt. When the game was on the line and it came down to it, you needed a crucial 3rd down or a 4th down conversion. The ball seemed to always find Bo Melton, and he had a drop there on 4th down that ended the drive. I want to say that was against Chicago, I believe, the first matchup. Maybe it was someone else. And then you've seen a couple of games later the same type of thing, right? So you hear that and you go, well, why is he getting more targets than Matthew Golden? Well, the reality is he's not getting more targets than Matthew Golden. Okay, now I know there's this big misconception in the Packers fan base that Matthew Golden has been so underutilized and that Bo Melton is being used more than him. No. Now, if you heard my take before, you would think I could see how someone would come away with that. But again, it's not about the volume. It was simply in those situations where it was such a crucial situation. Why is the ball finding Bo Melton, a backup cornerback, right? Why is it not finding Matthew Golden? Why is it not finding Romeo Doubs or Jaden Reed or whoever was available in the lineup, right? And the answer is Bo Melton was kind of our backup F receiver with Dontavion Wicks banged up, right? So again, Jaden Reed comes out of the game. If you're going to keep Matthew Golden at the X or the Z with Christian Watson or Romeo Dobbs, whoever's on the field at the time and not banged up, then Bo Melton was becoming your backup F receiver, which is essentially the moving slot in Matt LaFleur's offense. So Andy Herman kind of broke this down. He said, so many of these comments that I get are somewhat said in jest, but it's just remarkably untrue. So again, he's talking about people saying that Bo Melton is being used more than Matthew Golden. It's simply not true, right? And that's what he's alluding to here. So here are the numbers. Total snaps for Matthew Golden, 453 to Bo Melton's 96. Snaps on passing plays. Well, maybe it's just passing plays that Bo Melton was playing the majority of. Bo Melton was only in on 53 passing plays. Matthew Golden was in on 286. All right. So it's not even close, right? Targets. Bo Melton was targeted 11 times. Matthew Golden was targeted 40 times. So really 4 times the amount in pretty much every statistical category that we're talking about, more than 4 times in most cases. Catches. Bo Melton had 4 catches. Matthew Golden had 29 on the season. So again, it's not to dog Bo Melton. It's not to try to pump up Matthew Golden. It's just simply pointing out the facts that Bo Melton was not getting targeted more than Matthew Golden. He was not getting more playing time than Matthew Golden. It just happened to happen to fall into place that when the game was on the line, and that's what we remember as fans the most, right? Are those most crucial plays coming down the stretch where you're like, again, why is Bo Melton getting targeted at the end of the game? I think a lot of it had to do with injuries and specific to those particular games in those particular situations. I think is more telling of what actually happened there. So again, the breaking news here, Bo Melton is done for the playoffs. I think we'll miss him. I think he's been a key part of this Packers team, both on special or on all 3 special teams, not necessarily on defense, obviously this season. He didn't play a snap, but offense and special teams, Bo Melton has been a contributor. You know, when he's catching touchdown passes, we're not complaining about those targets, right? But when he drops a 3rd down pass or a 4th down pass in a crucial situation, all of a sudden it's, why are we throwing him the ball, right? I'm as guilty as anyone in that regard. But we are getting some good news, all right? We're getting a little bit of good news out of 1265, and that's our boy Zach Tom. Everything is trending towards Zach Tom playing on Saturday night. I haven't seen anyone report that they thought Zach Tom may not, be anything other than probable. I haven't heard somebody really say that he's truly questionable or doubtful for the game. And it's huge that Zach Tom is in the lineup for the Green Bay Packers. Here's why. Jacob Morley did a great job breaking this down on X. Go give him a follow at Jacob Morley. He said Packers with and without Zach Tom. All right. So again, with Zach Tom in and out of the Packers lineup, how does it affect the entire unit, the entire team? Here's the numbers he came up with. Games started and finished. Okay, so when he was on the field, he started as the right tackle, he being Zach Tom, and he finished the game at right tackle, right? So he didn't come out of the game for any significant amount of snaps. Maybe he broke a shoelace or something, had to go back in, right? But he's on the field. The team's overall offensive PFF grade was 74.4. Solid grade, right? Team pass blocking grade was 69.2. Team run blocking grade was 61.9. Now, games without Zach Tom, overall offensive PFF grade drops from 74 to 67.2. So it drops, 7 full points in terms of the team's overall offensive PFF grade. If you're going, does a right tackle matter that much? I don't want to sit here and pretend like one player has that much of an effect. But you know what? When you're trying to draw up a passing game where you're expecting the right tackle to hold his pass protection enough, and Jordan can really focus on maybe 1 or 2 targets on one particular passing concept, whether it's a dagger concept or a slot cross or a wolf or a mesh, he can know in the back of his mind, I don't have to worry about the right side. So let me kind of read the defense on the snap and fill the pass rush on the left side. It's just like a pick a side system, right? When you're going pick a side in a progression, you don't even have to worry about what the other side of the defense is doing. You're now limiting yourself. Like you don't have to worry about reading 6 or 7 defenders on a pass play. You only got to worry about reading these 3 over here. And whether it's a high-low read, right, or an inside-out leverage kind of call. So it's very similar, in my opinion, when you got a pass rush that you can go, okay, I don't have to worry about that on the right side, right? And that's what you got with Zach Tom. So, again, with the team overall offensive PFF grade dropping from 74 to 67, with him out of the lineup. That's huge. Team pass blocking goes from 69.2 to 51.1. And then the team run blocking grade goes from 61.9 down to 56.8. Again, it's just going to be huge having Zach Tom back in the lineup on Saturday night in Chicago against the division rival Bears. Now, what's the overall difference there? A team overall offense PFF grade is a plus 7.2 points. Guys, that's huge. Whether you like PFF or not, imagine that these numbers are a part of NFL Pro data, right? Or EPA data or any kind of data, right? When you're talking about a plus 7.2 advantage in terms of your overall offensive performance, if you will, that's huge going up to plus a 7.2. Team pass blocking grade plus 18.1. I would love to see the efficiency of Jordan Love, and I don't have time to break down the numbers. Maybe you guys do. I bet Jordan Love's efficiency, I bet his production takes a pretty significant hit on those games when Zach Tom isn't in the game. I'd like to see his EPA without Zach Tom playing right tackle. I bet it takes a pretty big hit, which is another testament to Goody's drafting. And I know we like to rake him over the coals for some of the stuff he misses on, but you got to give credit where credit's due. He hammered this draft pick with Zach Tom. What was it, in the 4th round? And then not only did he nail the draft pick, but then he turns right around and gets the next contract done, which I think was very reasonable. On the surface, people were like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And then all of a sudden, Rashawn Slater out in L.A. gets a way more guaranteed money. And you know how the Packers like to do business. So when you look at you compare the contracts apples to apples, great job by Goody getting Zach Tom under contract. And now we just got to get him healthy, right? Team pass blocking grade jumped 18 points. Team run blocking grade, it's only 5.1 points. But guys, that's still a significant increase, right? Your run game is better with Zach Tom in it. And to me, it's a testament to Zach Tom's not versatility, but just his overall balance in both the pass blocking game and the run blocking game, right? And here's the big one, right? When Zach Tom is in the lineup, the Packers' record this year is 8-2. Without him, 1-5-1. This is a vital piece of this offense. And when the offense is clicking on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders, then you can see here the record is going to improve tremendously, right? Because when you can put points on the board, you're putting pressure on the other team to pull out of their game plan a little bit earlier, right? Maybe it gets you into the second half where you could just kind of lean on a team a little bit and work on the clock, as opposed to, oh crap, we're only up by 3 points. Maybe we need to be aggressive on this first down, right? So again, the Packers' record this year with Zach Tom in the lineup, 8-2. Without it, 1-5-1. Those are huge numbers. And again, shout out to our buddy Jacob Morley for putting that stuff together. I think that's just an awesome, awesome breakdown. I love the way his mind fires when it comes to talking about this team and talking about some of the things that are important in terms of production and really situational football, if that makes sense, man. So yeah, I really, really think it's going to be a big difference maker with Zach Tom in the lineup. Now, everybody else has got to do their 111th, right? We talk about that all the time on the show. It's not something that Zach Tom's just going to come in and save the day. Everybody's got to perform, and it always comes down to protecting the freaking football. You've got to win the turnover battle. And Chicago is so, so good at winning the turnover differential week in and week out. That's the aspect of this game that we have got to win. We have got to dominate that in order for the Packers to go into Chicago and come out with a dub. So again, just want to keep this short and sweet. Quick little update for you all. Again, Bo Melton on injured reserve. He's out for the rest of the playoffs, so he is done for the season. Sounds like Zach Tom is good to go, and that's great news based off the information that, like I said, Jacob Morley shared there on X. So with that being said, we got Packers practice, I think, is wrapping up or already wrapped up. We'll be back a little bit later. We're going to give you all the updates from the Packers practice. We'll give you the updated injury report around Packers Bears, and we'll continue to pull back another layer of analytics and deep diving into this Packers Bears playoff matchup. So make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified. You'll get buzzed right there on your phone or on your laptop or your tablet or whatever you're using, right? Your spaceship, whatever it is, you'll get buzzed right there to your device. Oh, hey, PTA just went live. Let's talk Packers Bears playoffs. So that's it, guys. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Everybody have a great afternoon. I'm going to go plant a few trees on the property, and then we'll get back in here later and talk some more Packers with y'all. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.